What's going on, everybody? It's Clint. This is the post weigh-in recap video for UFC Fight Island 4. We are ready to go, folks. I just watched the video, and as always, I've got a little something for you. Make sure you hit that like button, share this video out there. Make sure you subscribe here to Odds HQ, and you know what? While you're at it, give me a follow at DieHard MMA Pod on Twitter. That's where I tweet out all my action whenever I lock my bets in and things like that. Also, I don't mind hanging out and chatting with people, so come on over, have some fun. Let's get into it. This was another fun one. Not a lot of weight misses or anything like that, so you wouldn't think I'd be able to come up with much, but I found a couple little things. First fight of the evening, we've got Luigi Vendramini at 156, and we've got Jourdain Ayari, his opponent, also coming in at 156. Now, Luigi, he looked a little bit stoic on the scales. He looked like he wanted to leave immediately, and normally speaking, I take that as kind of a bad sign. Usually, I kind of feel like you want to get out of there as quickly as humanly possible. You had a rough weight cut, you're not feeling good. Normally, that's what that means, but I don't have enough experience watching Luigi on the scales, so I don't know if maybe that's just the kind of person that he is. You've got to take that into account. So, Jourdain Ayari comes in, and he needed the towel immediately. They knew he was not going to make weight. He looked a bit rough on the scales, honestly. He was shredded, obviously, but he was very nervous. Now, when they faced off, Jourdain does have a decent size advantage, but Luigi looked focused, intense, and got up into his grill. Now, I botched this one. I took Luigi a little earlier in the week. The line has since flipped. You can now get him right around even money, and honestly, I still like it. It's not a spot that, normally speaking, I don't like taking the smaller fighter, the shorter fighter, the fighter at the reach disadvantage. You want to get the taller guy, the longer guy, the one that's going to have that opportunity, but Luigi looks like he is really ready to go here, and considering Ayari needed the towel, considering he had a rough cut on the scales, this is one where I feel like Luigi can have a better gas tank and take over late if he doesn't get an early submission. So I still like my spot on Luigi. I wish I'd gotten the better line. If you feel like tailing at this point, there is your information. Now, I do want to remind everybody, that's the whole point of this post-weigh-in show, is to get these last little nuggets of information right before the fights kick off, so we get the purest read on the fighters we possibly can. Where are they at mentally? Where are they at physically? And that's what we're looking for here. Casey Kenny comes in here against Alateng. Both men make 136. Casey Kenny was extremely confident on the scales. Big flex, moved well, didn't have any issues. Now, Alateng, on the other hand, once again, needed the towel. He got up there and he wasn't quite able to make it. They had him stripped down, put the towel up there, and it looked kind of like he had a bit of a bad cut. Now, after he did make weight, he did do the double flex thing, seemed a little like he was feeling himself, but he looked a little rough, in my opinion. Now, I've already got Casey Kenny in a parlay, and honestly, I still like that position here. I just think he's the much better fighter, and if Alateng had a bit of a rough weight cut, yes, he's muscly, yes, he's strong, yes, he's powerful, but you can't expect that to hold up for 15 minutes against a high-paced fighter like Casey Kenny, especially if your gas tank is a little bit damaged. Now, when they did get in there to face off, Kenny was ready to go. He got up in his face. He pulled his shirt off. I mean, Casey Kenny is pumped up for this fight, and Alateng did go ahead and respond well, but like I said, with the concerns on the weight cut, I'm definitely all Team Kenny here. Loma Lookboonmee came in at 116, really nothing to report. She's one of these fighters that she belongs at 105, really. She has no problem making 115, and she's not really overly excitable either. Jinh Frey came in at 116.5, and she had a solid flex. This chick is built, absolutely shredded. She is a muscle-bound woman. And then when they got into face-off, don't you tell me both these women are atom weights. Everyone gets all pissed off at me because I call Loma Lookboonmee an atom weight. Well, Jinh Frey, she's got the type of form that would transition up to 115. And Loma Lookboonmee, on the other hand, does not. She is always going to be undersized, and she's undersized in this fight as well. You could see it blatantly, obviously, when they faced off. They are not the same size. Jinh Frey looked to be the much bigger woman here. It was kind of a dull face-off. Both women very respectful. They did bow to one another. You love seeing that. But when it comes to the betting standpoint, I didn't expect this much love on Loma Lookboonmee. I botched this line movement once again. There's so much love. Everybody online out there is telling you, Loma, she's going to put on a clinic. And I feel like this line is extremely wide. I took Jinh Frey at plus 115. You can get her out there now as high as plus 130. So if you like that look, I think the dog is extremely live in this position. Now, Jourdain Williams coming in here against Nassourdine Imavov. Jourdain Williams came in at 182. Now, this is the kid from the Dana White's Contender Series. He's fast, he's got good hands, but he's diabetic. They made a big deal about that. Coming in at 182, he's a little small for the division. He doesn't cut any weight or anything like that, but he was extremely... He did this weird flex. He did like a hands behind the head thing. I don't know. I really don't know what he was doing. Imavov, on the other hand, came in at 185. He looks like a real 185er, and damn, did he look good. Now, when they faced off, Nassourdine is huge. He's really big. You could tell that there is a weight class difference between these guys, and both guys were jawing. They were talking smack. They're ready to go. And this is my first move of the post-weigh-in show, folks. I moved in on Imavov. This is one that I was kind of on the fence about. I wanted to steer clear of and stay away from. When I looked at the tape, I didn't expect there to be that big of a size difference. And you've got this kid Imavov training with the people that work with Francis Ngannou. He's another one of these Dagestani monsters. And the fact that he's got such a height and reach advantage here against a guy that should realistically be fighting a weight class below, but can't because he is, a diabetic. I don't know what you're supposed to do with that. I'm definitely on Imavov here, and I'm kind of surprised that he's the dog in this spot, honestly. I got to feel like maybe it's the recency bias of the Dana White's Contender Series that led to the line being that way. Charles Jourdain taking on Joshua Culibao. Charles Jourdain came in at 145, and Joshua Culibao came in at 145.5. Jourdain extremely relaxed, big happy smile, big flex. I mean, this guy, everything reeks confidence about Charles Jourdain, and it looked like he had an extremely easy weight cut. You don't have that kind of a good mood if you have a tough time making weight. So I think he's feeling good. Joshua Culibao looked relaxed. He looked comfortable. He's got a chip on his shoulder. He's got something to prove. When they faced off, both guys got up in each other's grills. They got into it with each other, and it was a very intense stare down. This is going to be a hell of a fight. Now, I'm all team Charles Jourdain here. This guy's my boy. I absolutely love backing him, but I loved getting plus 230 on him. I loved rolling with him as a big underdog. Now he's minus 450. The secret is out. I don't think I have any intention of going against him here. I think he wins this fight. Honestly, he looks like he's making all the right moves. Everything I'm hearing from him in the interviews, his mindset is right. He knows he needs to adjust. He's headed on that championship trajectory. I'm going to be looking more towards making an inside the distance type of play on Jourdain here. If I make a play at all, definitely not looking to back the dog on Culibao. Now, Culibao may show up. He's a scrappy fighter. He's, like I said, he's got a chip on his shoulder. He's looking to prove something, but I just don't see it. Now we are moving on to Carlos Condit taking on Court McGee. Condit came in at 170 pounds and looked really good, especially for a guy that's been off for a while, a guy that was retired. He's physically very, very spot on, good to go. Court McGee, 170.5. Now, he had a very excitable flex after he made weight, but this is business as usual. These guys have both been in the UFC for a really long time. They are both absolutely ready to rock and roll in this spot. Both of them have something to prove. Very respectful face-off. Condit's a little bit bigger, but there really wasn't much there. Both these guys, like I said, this is business. These guys are friends outside the cage. They don't really want to beat each other up, but at the end of the day, this is their day job, so they got to do what they got to do. Dequan Townsend taking on Dusko Todorovic. Both men come in at 186 pounds. Dequan Townsend surprised me. He actually looked like he was in pretty good shape. Dusko Todorovic, sorry, I lost my spot there for a second. He looked as good as ever. This is an exciting prospect, in shape, ready to go. He looked very calm, very collected, but this is his first UFC fight. Now, when they faced off, the thing that surprised me is that I thought Dequan Townsend was going to have a much bigger size advantage than he did. And to me, that leans way more to the Todorovic side. Like, I thought he was going to struggle with the height and the reach and the size, the physicality of Dequan, and that may cause a bit of a problem. I don't know that that's there anymore. I know Dequan Townsend has a reach advantage here, but the size advantage just doesn't seem to be there based off these guys getting into each other's face. It was a whatever stare down. Neither of these guys really looked too intense there, but I fully expect Todorovic to do his thing here. I see some people taking shots on Dequan Townsend. I can understand. We've seen a lot of hype trains derailed, but I just don't think Dequan is the guy to pull that move here in this spot. I'm thinking this is probably a pass. Maybe take a shot at Todorovic inside the distance or by submission, something like that, because Dequan Townsend is nothing but durable. This guy is impossible to finish, and even though Todorovic is the kind of guy that's a finisher, I don't know that he's got the pop, the KO power required to put a guy away like Dequan. So maybe a submission prop would be a sneaky way to go to find a little bit of value there. Phillips coming in at 136. His opponent, Cameron Else, weighed in at 136 as well. Now, Phillips was very excited. Multiple flexes, really showing off on the scales. I like this kid. Cameron Else, big flex extreme, very, very confident. He looks ready to go, and he's filling in here on short notice. Now, Else was a decent bit bigger than Kyler Phillips, and it was a good face-off. Else really got up on Phillips, and this is a spot where, normally speaking, you go short notice replacement. You know, guys maybe a little overexcited. You look to fade them in this spot, but Kyler Phillips is a minus 450 favorite. There's no fading somebody at that price tag. You just can't do it. If anything, maybe you look on the other side of the coin, because Cameron Else, he is not a bad fighter. I mean, I like what I see from this guy with him having the size advantage, unless he has had a rough weight cut that we're not seeing, unless he gasses out and gets tired. I mean, maybe he's a live dog here in this spot at plus 400 or plus 350, whatever you have at your book right now. I don't know. Maybe that's the shit the bed spot for the week. Maybe that's the underdog that shows up and really surprises everybody this Saturday. I like Kyler Phillips. I'm not in a rush to bet against him. I don't want to get in his way, but I just think this line is way too wide, and his opponent looks like he's ready to go. Germaine de Randamie, GDR, taking on Julianna Pena. Germaine came in at 136, professional, really nothing to talk to you about. This is another fighter who's been doing this forever. Pena came in at 135.5. Big happy smile, big flex. She seemed really excited to be there. And when they faced off, it was an extremely respectful situation. Neither of them was really jawing or getting in each other's face. They hugged afterward. I mean, this is another one where it's all professional. It's a fight. They're looking for a paycheck. The thing I can tell you is Germaine is a decent bit bigger. When I broke this fight down, I had a lean Julianna Pena because of the wrestling ability. And after seeing them face off, and after kind of marinating on it a little bit, I fully decided to pass here. If you like Julianna Pena, now's the time to get her. You can get plus 120, plus 130. That's a nice little price to roll on the grappler. However, with Germaine being as big as she was in this spot, I think she's going to have the strength advantage here. And Pena, she has struggled to get some people to the ground before. She's even pulled guard and ended up on bottom. I know I've talked about that a couple times, but it's not a good move. And somebody like Germaine is going to make you pay for a move like that. I don't see Germaine having the bad fight IQ of following her to the mat and getting reversed or swept or anything like that either. So unless she is able to get the takedowns, I just don't see Julianna Pena being able to win. And I think with how big and strong Germaine is and everything she's been saying in her interviews, coming off the fight with Amanda Nunes, realizing she needs to be a mixed martial artist rather than just being a kickboxer, I think she's been working on her takedown defense. I think she knows what she needs to do here. And honestly, I like that side. I wish I could have come to this realization sooner. I wish I could have gotten on Germaine de Randamie when she was a plus 120 or something like that. But I'm not about to chase that line. I'm not about to lay minus 150 on her at this point in time. Yorgan de Castro taking on Carlos Felipe. De Castro came in at 261, and he seemed really confident. He did the DC arm spread thing when he made the weigh in. He looks ready to go. Felipe came in at 263, and he is a big boy. Business as usual, but he's always a little too cocky in my opinion. For an 0-1 UFC fighter, he seems to be a little too much. Yorgan de Castro tried to shake his hand, and he refused to do it, and then he started talking shit. Yorgan seemed to take a bit of offense to that, pulled his mask off, and seemed ready to go at that moment. I mean, this is a spot that I really like. Yorgan de Castro closes out that parlay I've got going with our boy Casey Kenny. It's only for one unit, and if you want to make that parlay, it's in the ballpark of minus 120 or minus 125 right now. I got it at minus 108, so the lines have obviously moved a little bit, but there's been enough dog money coming in on Carlos Felipe that the price has actually come down a bit on Yorgan de Castro, and that's helping that parlay out. So if you still want to tail me on that parlay, the price isn't half bad, and I fully expect Yorgan de Castro to come out here and wreck Felipe. Main event time, Holly Holm taking on Irene Aldana. Both women came in at 136. Holly Holm is another one of these consummate professionals. Business as usual, no problem on the scales. And dang, does she look great at 38 years old. Remember, I'm the guy that always tells you when they get close to 40, you start being a little wary of them. Not Holly Holm. I mean, geez, if I can look that good at 38, I'd be doing okay. This girl is in shape, and she is motivated still. Irene Aldana at 136. She was the very last fighter to weigh in. Now, I got a good question on Twitter asking what I think about fighters taking a long time or being the very last one to weigh in, and it's a situation-to-situation thing. Sometimes it means nothing. Sometimes it means a lot. Sometimes it means they've been struggling with their weight cut and they needed every last minute just to make it down. And here's what I'll tell you I saw from Irene Aldana. When she got up on the scale, she gave a very slight wince. And with these women fighters, we have seen some bad reactions like that. The shaking, the wincing, that's never a good sign. They do not perform well after they've done that. And it was very, very slight. but she wobbled. She was a little unstable on that scale. And like I said, I had to go back and rewind the thing 3 times to watch extremely closely to see the little wobble that I'm talking about. But this is thin, very, very thin. But I think Irene Aldana had a little bit of a rough weight cut. She came in at 136. She is a big fighter for this weight class. I think she may have had a bit of a tough time. Now, when they did the face-off, it was a good face-off. These women size up extremely well with one another. They were, it looks like Irene Aldana is a little bit bigger than Holly Holm. However, I will tell you she was wearing shoes, so I think that added a little bit, a half inch or so. They are roughly the same size. This is a prove-it-to-me spot, folks. This is a prove-it-to-me spot. I've been waiting all week to see if I wanted to actually pull the trigger here or not, and I'm going to. I'm betting on Holly Holm. I got her at minus 121. She's out there around minus 115, minus 120, minus 125. I like Holly Holm in this spot. I know betting on these aging veterans is not really that great of a move sometimes, but a lot of these young hot prospects have been getting turned away. This is the first time Irene Aldana is going to see 5 rounds. Holly Holm is extremely hard to finish. She's hardly been finished in her career at all, and even though Aldana is coming off an impressive knockout win, it was another very green opponent that allowed her to get that knockout off. Holly Holm, I think, is going to make this boring. I think she's going to drag her against the fence. I think she's going to grind that clock, grind that gas tank, and when Aldana starts to slow down, and if she did in fact have this rough weight cut that I'm a little suspicious that maybe she did, she's going to have a hard time. She's going to have a tough time dealing with Holly in rounds 3, 4, and 5 when she is slowing down. And Holly Holm does not stop. She's got one of the best gas tanks in the business. This is a prove-it-to-me spot. If you're on Irene Aldana, I understand she's a hot young prospect, but I don't think she's ready for Holly Holm just yet. And she's going to have to show me that she is. This is a spot I'm willing to lose my cash on to see if Irene Aldana is ready to make that step up, because do not be fooled, this is a gigantic step up. And Holly Holm has only ever lost to women in the UFC who have literally worn a gold belt. Is Irene Aldana championship caliber? We will find out Saturday. Them's the reads, folks. Hope you enjoyed the show. Once again, please make sure you give me a like here, and please share this video with anybody who bets on MMA or even just likes to analyze MMA and talk picks. Give me a follow over at Die Hard MMA Pod. Subscribe here to Odds HQ. Good luck on all your action, and we will see you Saturday.